X-ray was just a catalyst, because I don't think things like the Ernest Truly Spanking Salvation show really would have happened without the X-ray there to be a springboard for it.
And Big Daddy Meat Straw definitely would have never done crap if it wasn't for the X-ray.
I think the big proof of it too is the X-ray road shows.
Whenever we went on the road, it was like with the huge entourage of musicians and artists and amateur stuntmen.
I mean, it really was the circus coming to town, and it felt good to be part of the circus instead of watching the circus, you know.
Farmer gal, Ernest Truly's Bare Bottom Spanking, Kurt's Project, Sean Krogan. If there's a problem, report to Tracer or myself, and we'll work it out as best we can.
I'm afraid I got a spot of bad news.
What?
Zig got arrested.
You're kidding.
No.
For what?
Ernest Truly, the ritual is you have to steal the surprise meat.
The mystery meat.
The mystery meat for the meat spanking.
Yeah.
And they'd do a salmon or baby back ribs or something.
I liberated a hog's head from the Red Apple market. And
we were going to spank somebody with it.
I had been drinking a little bit.
Zane did get arrested this evening for stealing a pig's head.
The bowels of the basement. The X-ray cafe.
This looks up to code. Sure.
And then I had to build a stairway. That was the first big project. That's what got me into it. And I remember dragging the wood across Burnside, big 2x12 by 16s, and dragging it into the basement. And it was a hard job. Just fixing everything. They had me fix everything all the time, and that was a lot of work.
The way I actually came to work there was that I was living at home and I had a lot of free time, wanted something to do. I had looked through the phone book for social organizations to volunteer at. And the X-ray was listed.
Fiona and I come that first day, we help them carry soda pop, then we go next door to the annex where Ben's trying to open a secondhand clothing shop, for donations, to keep the place running. And he goes, "Hey, you guys can look through these clothes. You look like clothes ladies."
And face it, most parents are working parents, and Donna Reed just isn't around anymore.
Right.
So who teaches them manners? I mean, society is different. Manners are different.
Having a place where they can go and experiment and not get crushed by the critics, to me, is crucial.
Good evening. Portland police clashed with hundreds of teenagers in downtown Portland tonight, and it got so bad they closed down Burnside.
This all began during a national conference of a group police call Anarchists. The trouble really began earlier tonight during a punk concert inside the X-Ray Cafe.
There was a punk rock show at the X-Ray, and there were a lot of people there. And out of the blue, as far as I could tell, at least 100 Portland police officers showed up, full riot gear, blocked off Burnside, and started this kind of standoff thing, which completely puzzled me.
The anarchists saw this and came outside to see what was going on, and really they would want nothing more than a confrontation. There couldn't have been anything better the police could have done for them.
And there were like kids going into the bathroom or the coat check room and getting their t-shirts wet underneath the sink and wrapping them around their head and talking about tear gas, other stuff like that.
And all evidence is that they are going to be the victims in this situation because the police won't say what they want, they won't say what was done, and they won't say what they're going to do about it.
What happened were they were a group of anarchists who were traveling to Vancouver, BC for an event I believe called Frenzy, and a small group was coming through Portland. Unknown to these people, their ranks were infiltrated by confidential, reliable informants working for the Portland Police Bureau who thought that they wanted to cause trouble here in Portland. They probably did, but I don't believe they wanted to cause trouble at the X-Ray Cafe.
Later, it came out that the anarchists had circulated flyers that said things like, bacon sandwich and made sorts of cop jokes and stuff.
At some point, Ben plays the hokey pokey over the PA that broadcasts onto the street. And I'm like, yeah, this is great. This would be a good thing. It's like the more that we can make it kind of comedic, the more that we can just like diffuse the situation.
Dozens of teens taunted police as they gathered outside the popular alternative nightclub.
But it doesn't work. None of that works.
And don't get me wrong, those out-of-towners were all riled up.
The two sides watched each other for a time, then the kids took off in an informal parade uptown. As they went, they broke at least 2 windows on storefronts. Officers declared a code 0, calling in all available police and arresting people for a number of infractions.
And they detected somebody for just yelling at the cops. The guy was yelling at the cops. They went and ran, threw him down on the ground, cuffed him, took him away.
Nothing to do with the X-ray. The X-ray was the conduit for the anger on both sides, and that was all. The X-ray from then on became like kind of a pariah. It was front page news, and everybody referred to it as the X-ray riot.
Parents started being unhappy with the idea of their kids going to the X-ray.
In the end, it kind of, was one of the things that helped to like cut the money off in the last year.
It was never about the money, but I mean, as time went on, we owed all these tremendous bills to everybody, and it got harder and harder to just pay the phone bill.
I don't think the X-ray did anything wrong. In fact, they're heroes. There should be more places like that. There shouldn't be impediments to anyone, not just young people, wanting to reach out into a community and do something and not be driven down by the rules and the mystery and the tedium of trying to figure out fire codes and housing codes and licensing.
People who make things like that, that make these really complicated social forms of art, are just not the kind of people that are good with money.
No one ever paid at the X-ray. That was the whole deal.
Vince always let everybody in for free.
I never paid to get the X-ray. I never paid.
I never did either.
And, and the place isn't here now, and I have no one to blame but myself.
It just got crazier and crazier, and we owed a lot of money. And I remember we had that fateful meeting, and we sat and just said, when are we going to close down?
It was a big media event. I mean, the X-ray closing was sort of the end of an era.
Make us feel it, baby. Go for it.
My hair look okay, Craig? It looks beautiful.
We want to dedicate our set to everyone that should be here that's not here, like all the bands that played here all the time that nobody ever heard of, and Crystal Bullet.
I'd like to say to all you people who snuck by me while I was working door, I saw you.
It was sort of a bittersweet thing. I mean, people were upset that it was closing, and yet there was a sort of like celebration going on. And I just remember writing, about the feeling that everyone had when the whole entire crowd broke into, I think it was American Pie, and of course the day the music died. It could be a cheesy thing, but at the same time it was just so appropriate that, for a writer it was like a dream come true. If this great legendary club closes and, 100 people packed in the room singing. We really couldn't ask for a better send-off for a really special place.